Wow. Kind of tough having knee surgery a couple months ago, total knee replacement, and then having back surgery 2 months ago, and getting a phone call as I was driving. And, Renee Nadeau, I want to thank him and, other guys out there I want to name. But first I want to say to the committee who voted for AJ, myself, Irving, and Mr. Tom Benson, it's a thrill and honor to go in with you guys and the All-State Sugar Bowl Committee for putting this on. But the day I got the call from Renee Nadeau, he said, "John, we've been doing this for 12 years." And I sort of forgot about it. I'm just driving in the West Bank, and I am a West Banker, so I spend most of my time in the West Bank. And I'm driving, and he surprised me by telling me this, and I had to pull over, and I was pretty excited. And I'm like, God, it's been 12 years, and I totally forgot about it. I told Renee, I said, you sure about this? You're not making the wrong phone call here? And, as you go along, you keep waiting. And so today, talking with Kenny Trahan, and I said, I'll tell you what I won't do. I won't pull a TO. I'm going to show up for the event and get my award and be honored. And, you go back, there's so many people I can sit here and talk to about, there was Ron Burkhardt, Bill Baumgartner, Kenny Trahan, Kenny Berthelot, Renee Nadeau, and then when I go back, I'm going to go back to Hap Laudy days, Buddy DiLiberto, those guys, Jim Henderson. They kept my name out there, especially in the days of playing high school football. This is basically awarded, I'm receiving obviously from my high school days. Had a pretty decent college run. Pro football was okay, didn't do very well from the standpoint of spending a lot of years in the league. But I do have that last footage you saw up there. It's kind of funny because it's the 100 greatest all-time touchdowns, and people can say what they want. I'm not a legend in the NFL, but they're never going to take that away from me being on it. And then the flip side of it, it is a folly. So I made two videos, and I'm in it, and down the road, people can sit there and look at it. And look, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my mother and father. My father's not here. My mom's still here. Thank God they tried, and they got to the third time around, because I've had 2 older sisters, and I got 2 younger brothers. So we had 5 in a family growing up in the West Bank. My oldest sister, June, I had to deal with her. I had to deal with my sister, Kim. They were a lot better than I was, trust me, growing up. And then, I have 2 younger brothers, and I say younger, one's a year younger than me, which is Keith, and I'll get a little bit into him after a while. But my youngest brother, Terry, didn't get a chance to really play much with Terry because he was 7 years younger than us. But the thing I remember so much about him is when you go around and try to pick a fight with him, he was the first guy I know that would always pick up a baseball bat at a golf club. So I left him alone. It doesn't feel good having your relatives and your brothers, and that's the way my young brother took things to the table. We competed at my household. Didn't matter if it was against my brothers or my sisters. All of them competed very well. And my nieces and nephews are here right now, and 2 of my nephews that I like to talk about right now is one is Chase Fourcade, who's at Nichols, and then there's Coach Taylor Fourcade, who coaches at Rummel. My hat goes off to those guys. They stayed into it. But let's be honest, folks. We talk about my high school and why I'm up here. Playground, Chester Jones was the coach that got me started. Like Kenny said, I started a defensive tackle. Rode my bicycle, wanted to play football. Coach says, okay, you're going to go be defense because you're the biggest guy in the field. And after I was blowing up plays, he said, no, we're going to move you to quarterback, and we only got 3 plays. I said, which ones are they? He goes, John run right, John run left, John run up the middle. And I said, what's the 4th play? He said, repeat play 1. And so that's how we ended up playing playground. But there was a guy that showed up every time that I had played playground football. Even when I played flag football and we won the city flag football. He was a coach by the name of Joe Zimmerman. He approached me and pretty much talked me into coming to Shaw High School. He's here today. I would not be here if it wasn't for Joe Zimmerman, folks. Let me say something. One of the greatest high school coaches to ever be around this city, and people know that their sports writers know who Joe Zimmerman is. And the day he looked at me and said, hey, you're going to start this week. And I went, say that again? You're going to start. I said, Coach, I'm only 13 years old. And he says, I don't care. You're starting. We're 0 whatever. I haven't had a winning season in years. He says, you're going to start. And we go against Holy Cross. And I've seen more men with beards play high school football in the Catholic League in 1 year than I've ever seen. After you got Holy Cross, and then it becomes St. Aug, and then it's Rummel, then it's Jesuit, then De La Salle. We didn't win a game, but I'll say this. The team that we were that year, they were all gone. It was sort of like keep it together. You know, here I am, 13-year-olds, trying to look at these guys that were older than me and trying to hold them together. And I was like, you know what, let's just get this year over. As the team that was coming up my sophomore year, we didn't even make the playoffs with an 8-3 record. This year you can go 0-10 or you're in the playoffs. We go 8-3, and I'm playing in a bowl game. I think it was called a Shrimp Bowl or somewhere up in Zachary, Louisiana, or somewhere in Baton Rouge, and 8-3. So the following years, my junior and senior year, we became very good football clubs. We lose to Covington, third play of the game. I broke my foot, and we end up losing 7-6. We kick a winning field goal. They carry me onto the field, and the kicker hits the crooked crossbar. We lose 7-6. My junior year, it was over. My senior year, we probably had one of the better teams in all of high school football, 5 weeks in a row, shutouts. So it just goes to show what type of team. Then we go to South Lafourche and play down against my good friend Bobby Hebert's team, and we jumped out on the guys, but that's why you play 60 minutes of football. And if you don't play 60 minutes of football, plus what you don't do is you don't put the same guy on an onside kick that's got bad hands and the ball hits him 3 times in a row and bounces to the other team. If somehow, some way, we realize that a little too late. But I'll go on record, and I'm still on record saying I wasn't over the line of scrimmage when I threw that play. And we were on the road playing in South Lafourche, and when the fire engine trucks were there before the game watering down the field, I knew something was up for us. So it was a fun time in high school, but my whole high school career has to be one man. It was Coach Joe Z, who stood behind and believed in me as a 13-year-old. Just remember, folks, October 1974, I'm 13 years old. Then I go off after that, and I had an opportunity to play college football. I had some good offers, Bear Bryant, Alabama. They told me I wasn't going to play until I was a junior. I thanked him very much. He wasn't very happy in Las Vegas on the phone, and if some people know who Bear Bryant is, he likes to have a couple of cocktails, and he wasn't very happy, and we'll leave it at that. And then Coach McClendon came on board and talked to me, and I looked straight at the recruiting coordinator. I said, if Coach McClendon tells me I won't play until I'm a junior, you're not going to get me at LSU. And sure enough, I went to Ole Miss, and that explains what Coach McClendon told him. But I got to start as a 17-year-old in the SEC. I had a good career there. It wasn't a great career. We would score a lot of points offensively. We lead the SEC in scoring points, and our defense would lead the SEC in giving up points. So it wasn't very good at that end. And so as the season and years went on, people said, well, you got a lot of records. You broke Archie Manning's records. And I went, yes, I did. I said, but records are made to be broken. You know, his son Eli came along and broke my records. And I want to thank Eli. As of today, he still left me one record. I still hold the most interceptions in one season. So thank you, Eli, for letting me still have one record at Ole Miss. You know, then you could take a Google map. You could take anything you want. And you can just say, how did I end up getting the New Orleans Saints? And this is a true story. And Jim Finks was the GM at the time. And I wrote a letter to Mr. Finks and I said, listen, I will pay for you to let me try out for the New Orleans Saints. I went back to Ole Miss. I had a semester left. I went and graduated and got my degree when I was in between, you know, my 48 different team trying to play for. And I said, you know what, why not write a letter? Worst thing you do is never respond to me, but he did. And they traveled me down on a Tuesday. Wednesday he said, John, we want to sign you to a contract for the New Orleans Saints. And I was shocked and thrilled. I didn't expect it that quick. And I guess the little PS hashtag he said, but didn't you remember you said you'd play for free? And I was like, well, you know, I was kind of kidding. But they ended up paying me the little bit they paid back then. But that's how I got started with the Saints. I took the pen in my hand and pretty much begged, and I was proud to say I begged to get an opportunity, and didn't make it in '86. And the strike season hit, and we all sort of know what happened there. Ended up 12-3, and got drummed by Minnesota 44-10 in our first playoff game ever in 30 years of the New Orleans Saints not having a winning team. I felt like I was a part of that. I was very fortunate that the New Orleans Saints kept 8 players after the strike season. I was one of the players that stayed on the team. And then I had to hear, and I'm going to say this, I had to hear people always talk about, well, you were a scab, you crossed the line, you did this and all that. And I said, well, yes, I did, because it gave me an opportunity for something I wanted to really do. Maybe never ever play for the New Orleans Saints after those 3 games or whatever, but it gave me an opportunity. Then I sat back and thought about it. Are you calling Joe Montana, Howie Long, Steve Largent, and Tony Dorsett scare players as well? Because they crossed the line too. And I'm not saying I'm in that category. But I'm saying if you're going to use that as what you're calling me, but you don't call those guys the same guys, they crossed the line too to play football. They wanted to play for their reasons. I played for my reasons. So I stuck around for 4 years, and we talk about injuries. You know, I had a torn rotator cuff and a tendon tear in my right elbow. It kind of ended my playing career for the Saints, and then I tried to go off in other places. But nobody's going to take a, you know, Mickey knows you're not taking quarterbacks with rotator cuff tears and tendon tears and working them out. So it was tough to get back in the NFL. But I had that golden opportunity. I played. I was here in my hometown. I'm very fortunate that I'm here. I got a great family behind me, and I get to watch my nephews play, get to watch them coaching. I have another nephew who works for New Orleans Saints. I want to big congratulations to Emil Maffey. He had his first daughter Monday. So congratulations, Emil and his daughter. But look, I had a pretty good career. Wasn't the greatest in the world. I'm thrilled about it, what I've done. And when we talk about the injuries, you know, I'm not done yet. I got to get a right knee replacement in a couple of months, and then I got to get neck surgery right after that and thyroid surgery. So it's going to be, the year's not over with for me, but once again, I want to thank everybody. But what I'm going to end in on this. One guy I played high school football, Pee Wee League football, college football with, and 1 year of pro football. That's my brother Keith, the biggest competitive person I've ever met in my life. One day I'm hoping he'll be up here. I've never had the opportunity to play against Keith. And someone asked me not too long ago, well, how would you want to go back and redo your thing? I said, here's what I want to do. I want the football at the 1 or 2 yard line. I want Keith Dr. Death football on the other side. And let's go at it, and I'll let you guys figure out who wins that battle. Thank y'all very much for having me here tonight.